Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Truth Brigade. And for some of you out there that are newer, when we first started this podcast, we were calling it Step Into Your Power because we have a platform, stepintoyourpower.com. So then we changed it up to Truth Brigade because my dad and Honey were already doing a podcast for stepintoyourpower.com, which you can use that little QR code up there, click on that, and check out our website that we have together. So that's why we did the rebranding for Mine and Honey's show. And today we're going to be talking about the world beyond the ice wall. We're going to give our perspectives, our opinions, and then just look at a couple different theories. Like this thumbnail that I'm using here is really, they sell it on Etsy. It comes from a book from what Honey said, right, Honey?
Yeah, it comes from a book.
And it's probably not the true way it looks. What would you
It's
say?
not my perspective. It's not the perspective I was given from my higher self, but it is a cool perspective. And if you're a flat earther and don't really believe that space exists, then you'll love that book.
Yeah, you'll love that book. Now, me, me personally, let me just tell you guys my theory. I believe that we live in a dimension. Everything's interdimensional, and there is a dome over it. But the dome, in my opinion, is technology. We have the technology now to create nano snow, right? 3D nano snow. We patent that in 2022. So think of the technology, if you want to think God, source, whatever type of angelic technology they could have had. Honey believes it's like a frequency, uh, well, some type of ice frequency, right, Honey?
Yeah, well, I think that everything is made with a frequency.
Mhm.
So your body has frequencies for different cells, for, different parts of your body. Everything vibrates at a different frequency because basically sound creates frequency, which creates different forms of light. And recently they've been able to freeze light,
Yes.
so our bodies are made of liquid light. Everything around us is made of some form of light. And when you get wrap your head around that, then you realize that we create our own reality.
Yep, I'm with
Yeah.
you there, and it's pretty interesting because me and Honey were talking before we went on, and I was kind of telling her my theory, and I said I think everything in this reality is coded to the speed of light, and then once you travel beyond that, you can break through or travel through the stargates and then go throughout the multiverse, right? The different planets as they call them. But I believe there was a firmament. Now, whether it's there now or not, there's been many um, depictions, especially in the scripture. We know they've lied to us a lot in the scripture too, though. All you got to do is look at the Council of Nicaea, and they rewrote a lot of things. But the firmament in the old Bible, it used to talk about an underworld too, and
Mm-hmm.
the sun and moon being local. And then remember, Honey, that rapper B.O.B. who was exposing all the cloning stuff?
Oh yeah, vaguely. Because I'm
Yeah,
not.
that's his record label in the bottom left corner with the dome over it. So
Love it.
yeah, yeah. And then 1969, when we allegedly went to the moon, we gave Holland a moon rock that turned out to be petrified wood. That's interesting. Yeah, that would be embarrassing. Maybe we just wanted to be cheap on the moon rocks. I don't know, but that is a little embarrassing there. But there is over 200 plus flat earth scriptures in the Bible. So that
Mhm.
there must be something to the whole firmament situation. And if you guys remember Werner von Braun, he was a German scientist, and he created a lot of their rocket technology. We brought him over here in Operation Paperclip. And then after he passed, he had this death bed confession where he said, "We never went to the moon, and they're going to do some fake alien invasion, all this stuff." That's where that comes from. Project Bluebeam. I'm not saying whether it's real or not, but what I am saying is that he chose to put Psalms 191 on his tombstone, which talks about the glory of the firmament. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. The guy that created the rocket program chose that Bible verse for his tombstone. I don't know.
I think it's hilarious because he's basically saying, well, we had to get through the firmament to get to the moon. So maybe the moon thing didn't really happen. I mean, that's my perception of what he meant. So far, I think most people at this point are fairly aware that we didn't go to the moon.
Right.
Yeah. And recently there was an astronaut that said, as soon as we get out of lower Earth orbit, we're going to go to the moon or something like that. And he basically said the first time we're going to get to the moon.
Oh.
So, and I put that all over the place because I thought it was so funny. But that's been disclosed over and over again. But the first picture that I sent you that looks like a donut, that is the picture that I was given from my higher self so I cleared a lot of stuff like trauma and stuff and ego stuff. And I had visions immediately and couldn't go to sleep that night. And this was one of the very first things that popped through. And basically I was pulled up through that dome that's right there. And I could see over the top of the dome and down into the dome. So if flat Earth is, it's been talked about over and over again, but we've been in a very limited perception of Earth. So we've been basically in a flat spot. And there's much more to Earth than just that flat spot. And that dome is now gone, according to my higher self. And now we just have the firmament, which you can see in the next slide. These are my little pictures. Beautiful. So the firmament, the firmament would be that line. So see the line that goes around the planet?
Yes.
So that would be the firmament, which is basically a bubble. It's a bubble that allows us to have an atmosphere because the plasma that is space, which is what I was told a long time ago, is thick. So we can't breathe plasma. And we're here in a construct playing a game, the game of life on Earth. So we need to breathe air, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, and science actually backs that up. They found out that a lot of space is actually plasma, which before they said it wasn't. So, I mean, they're always changing their theories.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think we're getting a lot of truth that's coming out now. But what I received about the whole ice wall, because this whole show is about the ice wall, is that we had a dome, and within it there was another wall of ice. So that wall of ice was created by beings that wanted to control the humans or the humanity that was within that corral in the middle, and they mostly lived outside of it. So even the elites that we now talk about all the time, they were also controlled. And they were controlled by beings that were beyond the inner ice wall. So the firmament is above all of that. And we don't have a dome anymore, but when we did, it was made of sky ice. And it was created by a frequency. And that frequency was kept all the more negative behavior contained.
Like Miss Clinton said, we're going to break that unbreakable ceiling, that unbreakable sky, glass ceiling, something
Glass
similar.
ceiling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I call her that because I didn't want to say her full name for the AI.
No.
you know, but I mean, yeah, if there's ever been an evil woman on this planet, perfect example right there.
Yeah.
I
Really, really negative. Yeah.
there was some emails. I did a post on this before, and I wonder if like there's entities beyond this ice wall, because when we first like went into war, back in 2003 when we went over into Iraq, there was this emails going back and forth between our government where they said they found Gilgamesh's resurrection chamber, and they wanted to get that resurrection technology. So, do you think, honey, there's entities that are more advanced than us that live on the outside of the first ice ring?
Yeah, I think a lot of fourth density beings were on the outside, but actually, the ancient technology that is still within where we have been living. So, Gilgamesh, they did want that. They wanted that technology. There's a lot of hidden technology in the Middle East, and they wanted a lot of that. And we went to war for reasons that we were basically told completely different reasons. So when we went to war in Vietnam, there was a lot of bones that were being hidden. So Nephilim bones and giants, basically, that were being hidden. And also, there had been very large spiders over there. And I think some of the people actually reported that as well, like massive spiders.
Oh,
Um, yeah, that is scary and creepy. But most of the wars that have been fought have either been fought to destroy a lot of history or to steal more technology and find it because somebody had maybe found it and the elites wanted that technology or didn't want it to fall into the hands of the people.
oh yeah, yeah. It is interesting. Every war that pops off, the first thing they just do is like destroy the museums, loot all them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Destroy all the monuments, and it's weird. It's kind of like we're going through some type of reset, and they're trying to hide that a version of history from us, and it seems like it's been done several times.
Yeah, it's been done over and over. And we have layer upon layer of societies that have been reset. And this last reset, it didn't go so well for them. Like there were a lot of things that they missed and a lot of buildings that they missed. Just like in the US, they had all those fires.
Right,
So, first there was the liquefaction event, the mud flood, and then there were all these fires that happened, and they would go from city to city. And they were all right before, like, right around the turn of the century
yeah.
and the 1900s. So it was really wild. Like they kept trying to erase things over and over and over. And the World's Fairs are a huge clue to that as well.
Is that part of what the Carrington event was? That whole Carrington event thing that happened
Um,
in
and
like
that was like an event when, yeah, it wasn't exactly that. So remind me, I think it has to do with electricity, right?
yeah, yeah, it was like a major solar flare type event that happened in I think the 1850s, late 1850s,
Yeah.
and some people were connecting that to like when that whole mud flood reset started in that time frame.
Well, I received that the mud flood happened right at the turn of the 18th century. So, like
Okay.
1797 is when I got it was, but then they had to regrow the population because a lot of people passed. So they needed people, and that's where the Cabbage Patch Kid idea came from. And also all those incubator babies, that was disclosure about growing people, right?
Right.
And then around the 1850s is what I received from my higher self, is when the population was basically put back in place. So the earth was repopulated at that point. And I think that there was a lot of weird stuff going on then. They didn't want us to use the old electrical system. So they
Right.
probably did put out a pulse to
Oh
get rid
yeah,
of.
that would make sense. Yeah, yeah, like an EMP, right? The
Yeah.
ones that were controlling that type of stuff. Now, what do you know about well, we know one time the government, we was talking about this. They had Operation Fishbowl where talking about breaking that unbreakable ceiling
Mm-hmm.
she was talking about. They had this operation called Operation Fishbowl, where they were shooting nukes up at what they say outer space for what? I don't know. That don't even make sense. But it was probably to try to break the firmament. And Operation Fishbowl happened. Um, say it was during the Cold War era. That's when that whole thing happened. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would have been right after, or actually before we went to the moon, allegedly. So 1957, um,
Okay.
I think in the 60s or something like that, in that time frame. I'm not sure on the exact day, guys, when it started, but Fishbowl was the one where they were shooting um, the missiles up there. Oh, July 9th of 1962, the U.S. launched a Thor missile carrying 1.4 megaton nuclear warhead. So I guess that was their first one on July 9th. That's interesting too. July 9th, 1962, launched a Thor missile. A Thor, that's a good name for it.
Yeah. Like a hammer.
Right. To break the ice. Oh, wow.
Well, I don't think they were very thrilled that they were in the dome in the first place, because we had an ice dome, and then above it there was a firmament. So there are islands and continents beyond where the dome was. The Earth is huge. So there's been ETs living outside of there, giants, probably dragons, some of the dinosaurs. I don't think there were nearly as many dinosaurs as they say. I think a lot of that was to hide dragons.
Me too. With you.
So, I mean, you even the Simpsons movie. So the Simpsons movie, the Truman Show, the show Under the Dome, they disclose things to the population with the television, and they act like it's fiction when it's actually a clue to reality. So all of those things were showing a dome, and it was really hard to get in and out of that dome. So you had to have a really good frequency to be able to get out of the dome. And most of these people did not have a good frequency.
Right. What I liked about the picture you showed here on this one, it has like an underworld too, and that's
Yeah.
how I always picture it. A lot of people don't say that, but when you look at the old, like this one up in the top corner, it shows an underworld,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, they call whatever they call it, shoal, but I think there's an inner earth. And see, people get stuck on one thing or the other. They can never think outside the box where it could be multiple different things, especially when our minds are creating reality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's it's so it's so big that it's hard for everybody to understand, and you need to have your own perception and don't feel weird about your own perception. But we really have to grow as a group, like humanity is growing right now, and just allowing and not judging other people's perceptions and just letting things kind of unfold and not worrying about it, because really your life is not affected by whether the earth is flat or whether it's a toroidal field or whether it's round, or you know enjoy the moment is what I'm saying, and don't get too caught up in what it is. But we are in a matrix, and that a lot of it is of our own making, and a lot of it is of a creationary making and a collective making.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. We're in the matrix. I mean, that's why the numbers work and line up, even with our personal lives. The gematria that I do, guys, that's why it works, because we're in some type of simulated reality. It's 100% that. I know that without a doubt in my mind, that it's
Mm-hmm.
some type of simulated reality. Now, I get that it was created for us to incarnate here and learn from. What do you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the hardest place to learn. Now we're kind of graduating out of that now, but we're also discovering where we've really been. So the ice wall itself has been our corral. It's been the fence that we've been in, and the dome was basically the top of that, you know,
Do,
but the dome is gone.
do you think Admiral Byrd, when he went down there, do you think he made it past the ice wall?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he
I
talked.
think he did.
They
Mm-hmm.
talked about. He talked about some crazy stuff. I was watching all these videos of him last night because I knew we were going to do this show, and I'm like, man, he was talking about some really crazy stuff. And then they kind of like put him out of commission after all that.
Yeah, they did. And if you go on, online, you can actually find his diary too. And I bought his diary. So he discovered Agartha, I think. But there's a lot of rumors. I think that there's layers there. So the first thing he discovered was um, the Nazis.
Yes.
So I don't think that was very great. And then I think he was taken somewhere else. And I would read about his experience because it was really beautiful. And lately, there are people that are saying that they're from Agartha and that they ended up in here where we live, and were told stories from their parents about Agartha, and they're just now coming forward and going on podcasts and stuff. So these people are beautiful, and they are human as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I believe there's a inner Earth too. They showed us that in King Kong, Godzilla. So much predictive programming, which when you really understand what that is, it's kind of like a form of lesser magic.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of have to tell us the truth. But you want to know something really fascinating about Admiral Byrd's? So it said he organized Operation High Jump from 1946 to 1947. 47 is when, well, 46, the Babylon workings happened, that ritual Jack Parsons did out in the desert. Then 47, Crowley dies, Aleister Crowley,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's in, and then all the aliens and ETs start really manifesting in this reality. But they said this was the largest Antarctic expedition in history, with 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircrafts. Now, you know me, honey, my head goes right to them numbers.
Yeah.
47, you got the 47-degree Masonic compass. In Freemasonry, you got two branches, the York, right? And they got 13 degrees, they had 13 ships. And then you got the Scottish Rite, which has 33 degrees, and they have 33 aircrafts.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Maybe that's just organic synchronicity there. Could be, very much
I
so.
don't think so.
Yeah, it seems like
I
they
feel like that wasn't even the, you know,
real
they
number.
just put that number. Yeah, they put
Yeah,
that number to basically signal about
right.
it. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think they do that a lot. Like they'll
Yes.
just change the numbers. And there's nothing evil about the number 13. It's not a negative number. It's actually a very powerful number. Same with the number 33. We get all these misconceptions about numbers, and that's due to the inversion and what the dark did, inverting everything, changing, the truth behind it. Just like with dice roll, they never tell us the truth about this and what's beyond it. Now, I do have this picture, honey. I want to show it to you, and you tell me how accurate you think it is. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let me see here. This one. Can you see that?
No.
Oh no.
Mm.
Oh shoot. Hold on. I got to go back and add it, I think. Oh, did I? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Here we go. So let me make this bigger. Oh, I guess that's as big as it gets. Well, that's not going to work. Maximize. Oh, there we go. What, have you ever seen this one before?
Yeah, that comes from a book, and it could be like someone's perception, and maybe that's how their higher self was able to give it to them. I don't see things this way.
Yeah, I mean that looks like a lot going on, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do see that we have a universe and separate planets and all of that, but basically what they're doing is they're spreading the whole universe out into these rings.
Oh, okay.
And there's a book about it. And when I got excited about that book, and I asked my higher self, should I buy it? And I got, no, it's not accurate.
Oh man.
So, really, what we do have is we do have different planets in different places within the plasma of space.
How do
And
I put us back?
I don't know, we're lost in space now.
Oh,
Oh, we're really big.
yeah, we are huge
Hi,
right
everybody.
now.
So, what I always have seen is that, and I've been into the astral plane, I've seen Earth from that perspective, and it's quite small, actually, from the perspective of a soul. So it's a game. It's a game board, and there is a being that is creating the game. So Earth has its own soul. We have our own souls, and we're basically here doing something for learning. And there's a lot of different planets out there. And when you look up at night, you're seeing a more accurate version than when you look at the sky during the day. Because at first we had sky ice, which was blue, and we had the baby blue sky. And then once the dome disappeared, now it almost looks like a hologram. Like, I live in the
Yeah,
mountains, and when you look at the mountains, the sky doesn't look real. It looks like a TV screen.
it does. And you're 100% right. And that's what I always wondered. Well, if they got this nanotech that they can create the nano snow, we know nanotech can merge into anything. They could create an endless screen up there and project any image they wanted on it. We know they got HARP, right? They patent that. We know they mess with the weather.
Mhm.
So it's not out of the it's not that crazy to think that they could project false holograms in the sky. And you see, even with HARP, guys, what's it called? High frequency active auroral research program. Well, that equals 223, and it was patented on 8/11, the 223rd day of the year. So there's some source code running in the background with everything, and it's tied to the numbers. And you can figure out your source code too. We all have one. I did honeys for her. I do them decodes over on truthfultv.com. Amazing decodes. You can check that out. Link is in the description. Um, and also, today's podcast was brought to you from Body Align in the energy wellness technology which is right here. That link is down below as well, guys. Or you can use this little cool QR code, scan it, boom, it'll take you there. And we also want to just do a little. Whoa, was that Siri? Siri just brought me up a bunch of stuff on heart, guys. Oh wow,
Oh, wow.
that was from my Apple Watch. Sorry about that. But we also have healing with quantum healing. Can you tell us a little about this, honey, as we're coming up to our 30-minute mark of our show?
Yeah, so Lisa Schermerhorn and I do quantum healing once a month, twice in that one day. And basically, what we do is we take everybody into the astral plane and we go ahead and we clear old contracts that have to do with illness, or maybe you have a situation that's not working out in your life. You get to pick what you heal because ultimately we are our own healers, but we guide you through the process. And there's a lot of support in that group, and there's a chat group that you can be in. All kinds of stuff comes with the quantum healing.
Yeah, it's amazing, and we are quantum. Everything is quantum. So I'm
Yep.
I'm really into quantum reality and quantum physics, and I think what you're doing over there is just amazing. And if you're one of my followers or subscribers, down in the description, you click on that link and use promo code Tommy, all capital letters, Tommy Truthful, all one word, all capital letters, and you'll get extra 20% off for that quantum healing. So before we do go, honey, I got to ask you one thing with this dome.
Yeah.
Your opinion, what type of entities are out there?
Beyond the dome, or
Yes.
where the dome was.
Or no, beyond the ice wall. I'm sorry, guys.
Beyond the ice wall. Okay. So we had, and they're eradicated at this point. And I've actually seen beyond the ice wall with the help of my higher self. So I've been almost like a drone. You kind of go out and remote view everything.
Right.
So I've been out there, and there's a lot of Tartarian like buildings out there. There were a lot of black cubes, and there were also a lot of buildings that were made of gold. So most of the black cube stuff is gone at this point, because that was part of a distortion.
Saturn.
And yeah, the Saturn distortion. And so there were tall grays out there. There were Draco out there. There were a lot of ETs that were pretending to be good, but actually were playing both sides out there. And there were some of the elites that never stepped foot within the ice wall out there. So these were the elites of the elites, basically. And there were a few humans out there that were considered to be the artisans or the servants, a lot of them, for all of the people or beings out there that were fourth density and pretty scary, really, because they were feeding off of the energy of humanity. And in 2013, the war was won in that ice wall ring. So those beings were eradicated in 2013, and they were eradicated by ETs of a higher frequency.
You know what that reminds me of, what you just described there? The lower astral plane. Like
Yes.
the eighth sphere, the lower astral plane. That's what that reminds me of when I think of it in my, when I close my eyes. But yeah, amazing. I love talking about these theories with you. You're my favorite to discuss them with. And we would love to hear your guys' theories in the comments. We know,
Yes.
look, you don't have to agree with us. We're just doing a show, giving our perspective, looking at some different theories and having fun with it. You don't got to take it too serious and get upset or nothing, because this is a very touchy subject for people. The spinning ball or flat earth.
It is, because it disrupts your reality.
Yes.
So
Yeah, well, me and Honey believe it's a game anyway, so we don't fall under either one of them categories.
Mm-mm.
And we love y'all. Tonight we got the prayer meeting over on stepintoyourpower.com. So make sure you come join us over there. And thank you to all Honey's followers and all my followers. Please hit that like button, share this video, and we'll see you again next week.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Yeah. This song right here ain't just a vibe. It's a frequency. Tuned at 432 hertz to heal, to uplift, to activate. They changed the music, switched the code, took 432 and made it 440 mode. From nature's rhythm to the sound of war, now we vibrate low, depressed to the core. But this track's pure, tuned to divine design. Activating chakras, realign your mind. Root to crown, feel that inner fire. We break the system, elevate higher. Jesus said it, you'll do greater than me. Faith of a mustard seed moves mountains, my G. Junk DNA, nah, that's God's hidden tech. Flip the switch, heal your soul, reconnect. Step into your power, reclaim what's true. They don't want you knowing what your light can do. You can heal yourself, realign in an hour. When you step into your power, raise your vibe, break the chains they gave. You ain't a slave, you're a soul they crave. 396 root chakra, ground your fears. 4 and 17 sacral arch, those tears. Via 28, that love DNA. Solar plexus charged, shine all day. 639 heart, open and feel. 741, speak your truth and heal. 85-2, third eye wide awake. 963 crown, no more fake. This ain't new age fluff, this is an ancient fact. They flip the frequencies to hold us back. 432 is sacred, aligns with the earth. The same math that coded your soul at birth.